and welcome to another edition of X's in Row. I'm your boy Row, contributor for State of the U and OG member of the Orange Bowl Boys. And remember, X's in Row is the video series that takes your questions online and answers them to the best of our ability. We'll even use film. But before we begin, special shout out to Caneswear, the everything store for everything Canes. Check them out at their Davie store location. Brett and the boys will definitely hook you up. So, Tony Valdez at Tony Dammy, 1627, Club OBB member. Strong question, my guy. What do we need to see from the freshmen against CCSU for them to solidify themselves in some more substantial and permanent roles? Just by the way, he closed on the wide receiver on Gervin's glitch play. James Williams needs to play more, way more. What do these freshmen need to do in order to see the field more in a substantial way? They need to be dependable. And I think you can become more dependable if you study just a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and show you. You mentioned Gervin Hall, but there's another play that I had concerns over, and this was on the Student of the Game piece this week. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. It's definitely on my YouTube channel. So you're going to notice right here, this is Gervin Hall. Michigan State is going to go ahead and they're running a counter against the grain. Now, here's my situation in freshman and my challenge to you. Study. Understand the concepts of the play. Understand what teams are trying to do to you. Because when you have a reverse going in this direction, right? And look at all the play side defenders. You have all these play side defenders. If that play would have went play side, you have a lot of defenders in the concept and what your defensive coordinator's trying to call. So why do you chase the reverse? I just think if you understand this a little bit better, and Manny Diaz, he challenged and said, hey, look, we did not hold contain well enough. Well, you want to know why you didn't have contain? Because I've always said you don't have to fool a defensive coordinator. You just have to fool his players. And that little reverse fake got Gervin Hall out of position, and that allowed the cutback lane and a big gain for the Michigan State Spartans. So you want to ask me, what does a freshman need to do? Freshman simply needs to be dependable and avoid mistakes like that. Hey, look, everybody, it's Marsh. At Hurricane Marsh on Twitter, fellow State of the U contributor. Check out his writings. That's my dude. You got this question last week, but I'm asking again. Would you like to see Lashley do more of what he did at SMU? I'm going to answer your question from that point right there. But I will touch on the rest. Air raid type of offense, and do you think we have the personnel to run it? Marshall, I believe wholeheartedly a lot of Charleston Rambo's success was air raid component. A lot of simple offense that was stops underneath, but it's an option. That's part of the air raid influence. If you would have saw those corners pressed up, Charleston Rambo can go by, but they gave you a lot of cushion underneath. Miami had huge amounts of success. No doubt in my mind, those were choice routes, and Charleston Rambo almost had a record-setting day. He only needed one more reception. So with the air raid component a little put to bed, because yes, I do believe we have the personnel to run it. What would I like to see Lashley do more of what he did at SMU? Well, it's inside the red zone. And just when you have a team reeling, you need to get some easy scores, some misreads down along the goal line. Let's help us out. So in this case, this is Prochet. He comes in what's known as orbit motion behind the quarterback, and then he's going to reverse face. Now, this guy, you don't see this on the film, but he's coming hard across the formation in man coverage. Once the snap comes and basically this goes back the other way, look at his man. Look right here. He's dead to rights. You couldn't steal and script the play any easier. I love the play creativity. I love the play call there. Now they follow it up. Once again, they come in motion, right? You need a 2-point conversion. This is an easy way, once again, to, get some points on the board because you have been rolling out a lot with your quarterback. De'Aaron King has been doing a substantial amount of rollouts, but now look what they do with the left tackle. Tackle eligible. They throw it across the grain. That is 2 points. You couldn't steal them any easier. What do I think Rhett Lashley can go ahead and channel what he did at SMU? I think he could steal some more easy ones and dial it up just a little bit better. This question's coming in from Lonnie Tingle, at Tingle Lonnie on Twitter. Row, multiple times this year I found myself yelling at my TV for King to throw the damn ball. It appears to me that King is holding onto the ball far too long. Is this on him, the receivers for not getting open, or just the plays taking far too long to develop? Thanks. I don't necessarily think it's C, the plays taking too far long to develop. I thought that was an Achilles heel under the Dan Enos offense. A lot of 5-step drops, 7-step drops, respectively. Didn't think you had the offensive line to continuously hold up at the point of attack. You know, Rhett Lashley's going to go ahead, and there's a lot of quick RPO elements to his game. Balls coming out quick slants, quick outs, quick screens. But this week, the 2 interceptions were definitely on De'Aaron King and holding on to the ball too long. I featured this play on the State of the Game. I don't know if you checked it out, but this was the interception. He's trying to hit a seam route with Charleston Rambo. I initially had some concerns with his head discipline because obviously he's staring in one direction. He had a safety open up one way and brought the safety back into the play. So that was A. But he's definitely late on the ball. And I'll show it to you again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like the ball coming out right now. Okay, there's a limited window right there on that seam. You're trying to get it around that 18, 22-yard mark. You throw it now, and this anticipation throw in time, in rhythm, you got this. This little extra hitch right here, though, you're going to see it. Watch this little extra hitch, okay? That little extra hitch that he's about to take there, that is the time necessary for the safety to come back over the top. You ask my opinion, that ball is late. Later on in the game, he throws another interception. When he throws that interception, I felt it was late. He's bringing a corner with him. Should have held onto the ball or thrown it away. When that corner comes in with him, jumps it late. He had a lot of success underneath, but it was that one critical interception at the end of the game that essentially put the nail in the coffin. This week it happened to be because De'Aaron King held the ball a little too long. At Simon Valken Jr. on Twitter, Simon says, we heard from Rhett that we are always this close to breaking out of our offensive funk. Is that what you're seeing on film? Is it really a matter of 1 or 2 things happening to really open up the offense? I don't necessarily think Rhett Lashley's wrong there. 2 components or areas that I think continuously evolve and improve. 1, the run game diversity. Don't look any further than Michigan State. Just that example of them using some orbit motion across the grain, then they use a cutback, got a Miami defender out of phase. Some of those plays that are working very efficiently against you in the run game, maybe you borrow some of those. And the red zone, it's reeling. And I like the examples we saw earlier of how in the red zone we can steal a couple. Just really have some great play designs to hopefully manufacture some easy points. Those are the 2 overall avenues. But then when you come in and watch some of the little things, I featured this play, right? And I'm going to give you other examples too. This is an offensive lineman taking an unnecessary step, in my opinion, in to help a guard. There was 2 people on their side of the line, nobody really showing blitz. You decided to help out. This play, 17-14 game. You want to talk about as an offensive coordinator, 1 false step leads to a strip sack fumble. And as an offensive coordinator, sure, yes, we were this close. It was 1 misstep. Go ahead and pay attention earlier to the game. You had Will Mallory drop a touchdown. That was this close. You had Mike Harley drop a ball just inside or right at the fringe of field goal at the end of the half. You ended up having to go for an unsuccessful Hail Mary attempt. There was a lot of points taken off the board. De'Aaron King being a fraction late from a big play, the Charleston Rambo, turned into an interception. So the general areas, yes, let's improve our run game diversity. Let's get some easier ones along the red zone. And yes, there's some small things that are self-inflicted on the player's half that are keeping this offense from being what it needs to be. Panama. Is it time to move on from being an RPO-based offensive attack? Seems like we keep messing it up game after game. Panama Kane, at Panama Kane on Twitter. The short answer for me is no, I don't think you should go away from an RPO-based attack. It just gives the offense too many options at times, and we're going to actually see a successful RPO from the University of Miami against Michigan State. And if you ask me my personal opinion why offense is king these days, it's all centered around the crown of the RPO. So let's go over to the film, because right here, this is an RPO and a good one. You have a pre-snap read right here. They can run a quick screen. They're going to use a pre-snap identifier of numbers. So as a quarterback, I like these options. Pre-snap, if I have the numbers advantage, I'm going to go ahead and take a 3 versus 2. They combat it with 3, so now I look at my box. And now you have a run component add to it. Miami's going to pull some offensive line. But what teams have been doing to Miami continuously, they're walking up a defender late. De'Aaron King does a great job identifying this. This is one of those instances where they have all their bases covered. And in this case, He astutely pulls it, doesn't give it to the running back, has a tertiary option play side to go ahead and hit this for Keyshawn Smith. So, as a quarterback, I have a pre-snap, I have a run option, and I have another pass option. I'm a guy that likes options, and there's just so much for the defense to cover. I think no matter where you go in the future, an RPO needs to be part of the system. Coach Howie on Twitter @Smoothness. Coach asks, do you believe in on-job learning can be better for some of the underclassmen, or do you believe you should know the playbook inside and out before touching the field? Well, I believe these are two separate important aspects. And regardless if you're an upperclassman or an underclassman, you need to know the playbook. That is your livelihood. That is your craft. You need to know it inside and out. And I believe on-the-job training, while at a certain point, you need to study film. You need to understand how teams are attacking you. And underclassmen or not, some people can gravitate and grasp to it, and some people shy from it. And this play was huge for me. It's 3rd and goal. You have the opportunity to at least try to limit them to 3. You have a linebacker pointing out what is the pass responsibility to the Mike linebacker. He's trying to get his attention. This is somebody who's obviously studied. He knows. And let's just watch this unfold. Because when the pass strength is set so heavy, understanding the game of football. Let's go. Right here. Once the running back vacates, there's a couple tells to me. This is not max protect. It's not max protect. Now I'm going to read the quarterback. He's probably going to come out and get the ball out quick. Obviously, as a Mike linebacker, here's something else. If I have somebody coming inside of me, there's a good chance something's going outside of me. And that's exactly what happens here. Now, starting to break on the ball, sure, but look at the position of Miami, right? Look at the position. They have a 2-for-1. These are both man defenders, right? So something's coming outside. We need to attack that. Everything else is covered. But what happens? We're steps slow in diagnosing. We had somebody else trying to call out who our pass strength is. And then the safety that was over the top is naturally getting picked out. So you have one wide receiver taking out 2 defenders enough. They don't understand the game of football. They don't understand how the offense was trying to attack them. And in this case, 6 points to Michigan State. Stock and Bond Guy 305 @LouGallo number 9 on Twitter with the final question of the evening. It's more like a statement. We're a dead program under this AD and HC. Can't separate the two anymore. We'll know how serious the bot are about the athletic programs at UM by the actions they take in the coming weeks. If they have any authority at all, they will force a change, and soon. This question once has me taking off my X's and O headset and putting on my editorial hat. And this is where we are, Miami Hurricane fans. We are 1-2. Came in as preseason top 25 favorites, and now we are nowhere to be found. Not the start that a lot of Hurricanes fans envisioned. And I agree. This program, you cannot separate the athletic director and head coach any longer. But you got to go back to square one to see the big picture. There was a lot of detractors. There was a lot of people who were opposed to the Manny Diaz hire. They said it was rushed. They called it lazy. He was ill-prepared, they said. He did not have any head coaching experience, let alone Power 5 experience, let alone any experience whatsoever. So I used the analogy on the Orange Bowl Boys podcast. I said it was like giving a 16-year-old the keys for his very first car, a very fast sports car, and being surprised when that kid gets in his first accident and potentially wraps that car around the tree. Well, 3 games into Manny Diaz's tenure, including longer if you consider his time as a defensive coordinator, he has wrapped that car around the tree. And I don't personally think we should be surprised. Which brings us to the Board of Trustees. I get it. They have shown a long track record of not caring at all. They care about academics. That's what we've heard over and over and over. College football is an arms race. It is the haves and the have-nots. There's a lot of financial money at stake here. There's a lot of financial responsibility here. And there's a lot of initiative financially in order to get to a level where some of these teams achieve to aspire to. one in which the University of Miami doesn't routinely seem like it's headed. So, where does that leave us? I want to go ahead and borrow something from my cohort Toast, because he said something, and it changed something in me. He said it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. Miami can be the place where you could be great athletically and academically. Recently, I saw the medical program tout the U Health. Let me ask you something, Board of Trustee members. Where did that U come from? Let me ask you again. Where did that brand come from? Who made that famous? It was the football team that made that famous. So it's almost insulting that you continue to use the brand, but don't give credit to who the brand ambassador initially and always will be. It does not have to be mutually exclusive. It could work beneficially for both. Toast is 100% right. Now, I know it's a big risk, and there is a benefit here from the Board of Trustee members being fiscally responsible. There are a lot of instances out there where a head coach is paid a lot of money, and it's not paying the dividends necessary and required. But you know what? They tried. They showed the fans that come out routinely, decade after decade, including myself, that they tried. And that's all we're asking, that you try, that you literally put it down for a second, look in the mirror and say, it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. We can keep it mutually beneficial. Go find the right coach. Get the right searching committee. Do whatever you need to. But this isn't it. And until you figure it out, remember every time you parade that logo, because you didn't start that. That team, that magical team that captivated the college football world, they started it. And they deserve to continue that legacy. At least give them the chance to.